Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Proactive is the Way. Today, we are kicking off another series to help support my desire to take all the work in which I put in to develop my life designs and bring them into fruition, and so that by the end of the year, I am well on my way to glowing up. Last month, we focused on the importance of getting our minds right and ensuring that we are not hindering our ability to actively pursue our endeavors by focusing on the difference between a fixed and a growth mindset. This month, using this knowledge, we are diving into learning more about our health and the resources available that will help us to improve or continue to live a healthy lifestyle. We will learn about diseases and how to make better life choices as it relates to our diet and exercise. It is so imperative that when we embark upon any endeavor, our health must be optimal so that we can realize each goal in which we set out to do. All right, so let's get into it and discuss the book, How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger, and learn about how nutritional and lifestyle interventions can sometimes trump prescription pills and other pharmaceutical and surgical approaches to help prevent and reverse diseases, freeing us to live healthier lives. As I have shared in the past, when you start to read a book, if it's available, don't skip the preface. This is where you learn all about the why the author decided to write a book. Dr. Greger starts off by sharing a personal story about his grandmother's diagnosis of a terminal heart disease illness that had been reversed. Sent home in a wheelchair to die, she was blessed to witness a segment on 60 Minutes with Nathan Pritikin, an early lifestyle medicine pioneer who had been gaining a reputation for reversing terminal heart disease. He had just opened a new center in California, and the author's grandmother, in desperation, decided to participate in this live-in program where everyone was placed on a plant-based diet and then started on a gradual exercise regimen. Well, when they arrived, they wheeled his grandmother in, and she walked out. Folks, she was given her medical death sentence at the age of 65, and thanks to a healthy diet and lifestyle, she was able to enjoy another 31 years on this earth with her 6 grandchildren. Astonishing. All due to changing her diet. Do you know what the best kept secret in medicine is? Given the right conditions, the body heals itself. If you whack your shin really hard on a coffee table, it can get red, swollen, and painful. But your shin will heal naturally if you just stand back and let your body work its magic. But what if you kept whacking it in the same place 3 times a day at breakfast, lunch, and dinner? It would never heal. Dr. Greger shares that you could go to your doctor and complain, "Oh my God, my shin hurts." No problem. He or she will just whip out a pad to write you a prescription for painkillers. You'd go back home, still whacking your shin 3 times a day, but the pain pills would make it feel so much better. While medicine can offer tremendous relief, it's not doing anything to treat the underlying cause. You see, your body wants to regain its health if you let it. But if you keep re-injuring yourself 3 times a day, you interrupt the healing process. Well, this experience with his grandmother and understanding about the body led Dr. Greger to pursue medicine. And during his tenure in medical school and his residency, he realized that there was something seriously wrong with our healthcare system. It was a wake-up call. His eyes were open to the depressing fact that there are other forces at work in medicine besides science. The U.S. healthcare system runs on a fee-for-service model in which doctors get paid for the pills and procedures they prescribe, rewarding quantity over quality. They don't get reimbursed for time spent counseling patients about the benefits of healthy eating. If they were paid for performance, there would be a financial incentive to treat the lifestyle causes of disease. But unfortunately, that is not the case. I love this quote. A doctor a day may keep the apples away. This is so sad. You know, our system is seriously flawed. But all hope is not lost. Thank goodness for people like Dr. Greger, who dared to challenge the status quo. He dared to not fight the old, but build a new road that teaches all of the ins and outs of disease and how to reverse our diseases through a simple course of action. Eat more plants. Dr. Greger partnered with a man named Jesse Roche, and he's a Canadian philanthropist who shared his vision of making evidence-based nutrition freely accessible and available to all. Jesse and his wife, Julie, partnered with Dr. Greger to put all of the research and resources that Dr. Greger found about the benefits of plant-based living and how to effectively heal the body online for free. You can find this information at nutritionfacts.org, all one word, nutritionfacts.org. It's a self-sustaining nonprofit organization that has more than 1,000 bite-sized videos on nearly every conceivable nutrition topic. Once again, folks, it is free for all. And what I love about this service or this platform is he calls it his labor of love. A true servant leader. Thank you, Dr. Greger. So back to the book and How Not to Die. You know, this book, it's really insightful. And I strongly encourage you to pick up a copy because what I am about to share, I mean, you guys, it is so high level. I think it's only like the first 50 pages, really. But Dr. Greger, he asked the question. He said, are Americans living longer now compared to about a generation ago? He said, yes, we are. But what he found is that we are actually living fewer healthy years now than we once did. Essentially, a 20-year-old in 1998 could expect to live about 58 more years, while a 20-year-old in 2006 could look forward to 59 more years. However, the 20-year-old from the 1990s might live 10 of those years with chronic disease, whereas now we are living a few more years, but with heart disease, cancer, diabetes, or experiencing a stroke. So while we have taken one step forward, we have taken 3 steps back. We are living longer, but we are living sicker. Dr. Greger shared that in public health school, students learn that there are 3 levels of preventative medicine. The first is primary prevention, as in trying to prevent people at risk, for example, heart disease, from suffering their first heart attack. Then there was secondary prevention that takes place when you already have the disease and the doctors are trying to prevent it from becoming worse, like having a second heart attack. And at the third level of preventative, they're calling this preventative medicine, folks. The focus is on helping people manage long-term health problems. And then in 2000, a 4th level was proposed, which was to reduce the complications from all the drugs and surgery from the first 3 levels. Once again, pay attention to that word, preventive health care. That's very concerning. But folks, catch this. In the 1970s, there was a concept that should have came before all of these levels. It was termed primordial prevention. It was first introduced by the World Health Organization. Now, of course, decades later, it's finally being embraced by the American Heart Association. Primordial prevention was conceived as a strategy to prevent whole societies from experiencing epidemics of chronic disease risk factors. This means not just preventing chronic disease, but preventing the risk factors that led to chronic disease. For example, instead of trying to prevent someone with high cholesterol from suffering a heart attack, why not help prevent him or her from getting high cholesterol, which leads to the heart attack in the first place? You see the problem? This is the perils of living in a capitalistic society. Dr. Greger continues by taking us on a journey of our dietary patterns from industrialism up until today. He cites how we gravitated from a more plant-based diet to meat and the myriad of diseases we began to contract due to the introduction of eating more meat and meat byproducts. In 1990, around the world, most years of healthy life were lost due to undernutrition. That's in 1900. Around the world, most years of healthy life were lost due to undernutrition, such as diarrheal diseases in malnourished children. But now, the greatest disease burden is attributed to high blood pressure, a disease of overnutrition. Now, let me repeat that again because I didn't say that year right. In 1900, around the world, most years of healthy life were lost to undernutrition. But now, the greatest disease burden is attributed to high blood pressure, a disease of overnutrition. The pandemic of chronic disease has been ascribed in part to the near universal shift toward a diet dominated by animal-sourced and processed foods, such as meat, dairy, eggs, oils, sodas, sugar, and refined grains. We can see the impact of our diet as the world started adopting the U.S. dietary lifestyle, especially in China, as they have started to transition away from the country's traditional plant-based diet to a more westernized diet. And it was accompanied by a sharp rise in diet-related chronic diseases such as obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and cancer. So, how do we reverse this? Dr. Greger continues on by sharing a number of research and studies conducted that signaled that by becoming more plant-based, this will help to heal the body and reverse diseases. In this book, he highlights 15 of the leading causes of death and takes us through how there is one unifying diet found to best prevent and treat many of these chronic diseases, and how we can begin to support our body through a more natural healing process. Through a more whole food plant-based diet, defined as an eating pattern that encourages the consumption of unrefined plant foods and discourages meats, dairy products, eggs, and processed foods. In this book, you will find that he doesn't advocate for a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet. He just advocates for an evidence-based diet and providing you the best available balance of science that suggests that the more whole plant foods we eat, the better. It's funny how we have now labeled this way of managing our health as alternative medicine, while popping pills and surgery have become mainstream. If you are looking for some insight on how to start this journey of eating a more whole foods and plant-based diet and developing a program to prevent disease or manage your conditions in a manner that is more natural and sustainable, I encourage you to pick up a copy of this book, How Not to Die by Dr. Greger. All right, folks, that's a wrap. Join Tiffany and I in 2 weeks as we share some of the most interesting highlights in this book and discuss how, for me, I moved to a vegetarian diet, which does actually include dairy and eggs. But I'll tell you more about why I incorporate dairy and eggs. But how we moved more essentially to a whole foods plant-based lifestyle, and how that has impacted our lives. We look forward to you joining us. To access all replays or learn more about Kinky Knots Cafe's Proactive is the Way, please visit www.kinkyknotscafe.com. Proactive is the way, my friends. Take good care.